Hey everyone, thank you for joining me for another episode of Total Ramblings. I hope you're all well. It's 11:23 on Sunday morning, Sunday the 3rd of November 2024. And as usual on a Sunday, I'm on the way to see Liz. Hey, this channel hit a good milestone this week. We finally got 200 subscribers. Yes, the numbers go up very slowly. Well, I just do it for a hobby really and to keep myself sane. If anybody wants to watch it, that's a bonus for me. I know I don't put out the best content in the world, but I'm honest about what I do. It's honest content. And that's all I can do really. You can only ever be honest to yourself. Be aware of your own limitations. So I've also been thinking about something else lately. So this year has been the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars. And I was there right at the start. So my history with Lego, the very first Lego sets I remember, I had some policemen with a motorbike, the maxi figs, I think they were called. They had sort of bendy arms and big heads and hair, and you could clip on. I had that set. I want to say the set number was 575. But don't quote me on that. I had a plane that my first evil stepfather got me on a business trip, I think, and it had window bricks. They were printed, and I used them in space shuttles that I built later. Still got those, and the wings. And I had a red double-decker bus, a little one with "Read the Lego Times" on it, a sticker across multiple pieces. Stamps, they're called. They're frowned upon these days, stickers across more than one piece. But yeah, those were the first. So anyway, I had a little collection of Lego. Then Space Lego came out, and I was there. And I think when I had a little moon base, and I left the moon base aside when I went to visit my grandma for 2 weeks, and nobody got it in. And that was when I first learned that you couldn't rely on anybody else. And it got rained on, and I was really upset. I mean, I used to play with my toys a lot outside, but eventually my space Lego was given away to my cousins, and I was very upset about that. And then I kind of got out of Lego. Other toys I was into, of course, Star Wars, which would have been around the same time. Action Man, I think, was my first toys, but I remember before any of those. Anyway, then I entered what adult fans of Lego call their dark ages. I entered my dark age until Star Wars Lego came out, and I was like, wow. And I had to have it, and I got it all. And I remember buying all the sets, and I was at home at my house in Portsmouth, and I was like, I'm sure I'm missing a set here. And I was missing the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter and Y-Wing, I think. So I didn't have a car back then, because you didn't need one living in Portsmouth. You didn't need a car, you could just walk everywhere. And I can park anyway. So I got a taxi, he took me to Toys R Us, I got him to wait, I went in, I got the set, and I went home. And basically that reignited my passion for Lego, and I got into, obviously, Lego Star Wars, Lego City. I got all the Lego Wild West sets, Fort Legorito and all the rest of it. And it kind of, escalated from there, really. But this year is the 25th year of Lego Star Wars. And it seems to me that this might be an apposite moment to jump off. There have been Lego Star Wars sets released with, anniversary printed bricks, and sets have been coming out with special figures. There's still a couple that I need, but I'm thinking with the general, so there's a few reasons for this. Number one, I'm running out of room, even in the vault, really, to store this stuff. And really, all I do with the Star Wars stuff is I build it, I store the minifigs, and the set goes to the vault. What's the point? Number two, they're re-releasing old themes and sets, you know, and I've got all the vehicles that I want, with some exceptions that I'll come to in a minute. Thirdly, the prices are going through the roof. Lego has become so expensive, licensed Lego even more so, and king of all the licensed Lego is Lego Star Wars, and it's really, really expensive, and you're paying through the nose these days for not a lot. So there's a price issue. And fourthly, and this is kind of the lesser of those issues really, is Star Wars has definitely lost its sheen amongst the majority of people. Doesn't affect me so much because I only collect Star Wars sets from sort of the Imperial era. So in other words, original trilogy, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, the height of the Empire, you know. So any sort of series that come out like Andor or whatever, I'll collect sets. But so I'm already quite niche on Lego Star Wars. There was a time years and years ago when I would buy everything Lego Star Wars, but then they started releasing Ultimate Collector's Series sets, which were really expensive sets and really big and hard to store and display. And then, you know, I've never bought a sequel trilogy set, for example, so I'm already quite niche. And I'm just thinking, 25 years of Lego Star Wars, I'm going to be 54 next year. Liz, I'm going to need to be caring for Liz. Maybe it's time to jump off of Lego Star Wars. I'm not jumping off of Lego completely. Animal Crossing I'd still like to do. City, the odd City set would be quite nice because they're reasonably priced, certainly in comparison to licensed sets. So I'm thinking maybe it's time to jump off Lego Star Wars and stop buying them, with some exceptions. If they were to release, for example, a minifig scale TIE Defender or a new model of TIE Fighter, I'd have to get that because I love TIE Fighters. If they were to release, say, UCS scale TIE Bomber to go with my UCS TIE Fighter, my UCS TIE Interceptor, then I'd have to get that. But I'm thinking to myself, maybe, you know, with the odd exception, I should just stop trying to buy all the Star Wars sets that I want and just ease off. And 25 years seems like a good jumping off point, a good farewell to Star Wars Lego on the whole. So that's what I'm thinking. Would save me a lot of money, would save me a lot of space and time, and I can still do Lego stuff, but just not paying through the nose as I am at the moment. It's like an Animal Crossing set, you might pay, say, £17.99, and yet for the same size set with, you know, the same number of minifigs, you probably pay double that for Star Wars because of the license, the Star Wars tax, the Disney tax. So that's my thinking, if anyone cares. What else is happening? Still having trouble getting Liz out of hospital, obviously. I'm spending too much money because she's not there to control me, and I'm a bloody nightmare. I know I'm a nightmare. She knows I'm a nightmare. She knows that I know that I'm a nightmare, etc., etc. The problem is getting people to talk to each other. So Liz's ear, nose and throat specialist, Dr. Walker, is currently on holiday. People are not replying to emails. We had the issue with the surgery. You know, party A emails party B. Party B doesn't reply. I have to chase up party B. Then it turns out party C also hasn't replied. And it's just really getting everything lined up. And, you know, I try and ring the care health assistant lady and she's busy in a meeting or whatever. So it's just very tiresome, you know. I was due to do 2 work events this week, Wednesday and Friday. Now Friday, I am going to a black tie gala presentation thingy at the Intercontinental Hotel on Park Lane in London. Park Lane, for anyone not in the UK, is like one of the most expensive properties in Monopoly. That's where I know Park Lane from. Yeah, so it's black tie do. So I wore my dinner jacket. It fits after 5 or 6 years of not wearing it. My trousers fit. I had to get a new white shirt. I bought myself a new nice belt. Bought myself some new posh shoes because I threw away my posh shoes during the sort outs this year, thinking I'd never wear them again. Foolish boy. Anyway, so I'm going to that. It's a DEI award ceremony, and the lady who is responsible for DEI affairs globally for the company that I work for, she works and lives in the Netherlands, but she goes all around the world. She is up for an award, and we've got a whole table of people, like 10 people, so that should be good. And the plan was that if Liz was home, we were going to get Liz's mum to sit with her. I was also invited out Wednesday night for a work do, and if Liz was home, I probably wasn't going to be able to go because I can't really ask people to sit with Liz 2 nights in 1 week. Now, as it turns out, she's probably not going to be home unless by some miracle happens tomorrow. And, I could have gone, but it's now been moved to December, so that's kind of a moot point, really. So, so that's, we're obviously having to think about accepting invitations from people and work and stuff like this because Liz might be home, and we've been saying this for months now. Liz might be home. She's going to need a suction machine, a nebulizer, oxygen, medication. It's like earlier this week. So today, by the way, is the first anniversary of Liz's dad's death. He died on a Friday. So last Friday, Liz was in a bit of I think she might have been a little bit worried about the anniversary, but she had a hydrotherapy session, and when she came out, transpires later, they found out they thought it was a panic attack. She needed oxygen. Her sats dropped through the floor. She needed oxygen. And this is the sort of thing that I'm worried about because I need to identify and know when she's having a panic attack and what to do about it. Because ultimately, when she is at home, it's going to be my responsibility to keep her alive. So, she's also got an infection around her rig tube that goes into her stomach. They took some swabs. She's got an infection there, so she can't have hydrotherapy next week. She's on antibiotics. I'm on antibiotics as well. So we're both on antibiotics and we're both incredibly healthy. Brilliant. So that's what's happening at the moment. I hope you liked my fireworks video last night. I put my drone up. I'm going to start saying I launched a probe instead of I put up a drone because it just sounds more dramatic and it sounds more Star Trek. So I launched a probe to record the fireworks. Now, I probably put it up a bit too early. What happened was, as we were getting near the climax of the fireworks display, my battery was running low. So I recalled the drone, did a very quick pit swap, slung in a new battery, turned it on and put it up again, so I was able to catch the finale. And I don't think you notice it in the video. It's seamless, really, so the editing that I did. I also like the fact that the music seems to align nicely in certain places for the most part with the fireworks. So I hope you liked that video. I did another video earlier in the day where I just put the drone up and just did some autumnal stuff. And someone disliked it. Don't know why. Shouldn't worry me. But what's to dislike? Free entertainment. Get a life. And and then of course my Teddy Bears video. So there you go. I hope you've been enjoying the content. The numbers haven't gone up since we hit 200 subscribers, so we need to get those numbers up there, so that would be nice. But it's not my main focus. It's certainly not my day job. Forgot to say, saw a shoplifter the other day. So I was in a food warehouse, stocking up on bottles of lemonade, frozen stuff, things like that. And I was being served at the till, and I saw these two guys walking very fast in a very straight line, straight out of the store. And one guy was carrying something heavy, and the other guy was following him. And the man serving me at the till turned and saw them. And I thought, okay, that looked like they'd just stolen something. And the man at the till called a colleague over and said, I've just seen a guy walking out with 2 crates of 24 cans of Coke. So they went out, and I paid, and I'm thinking to myself, well, why am I paying? There's people here walking out, you know? Anyway, as I was leaving the store, I saw that there was like a trolley racked up with these Diet Coke crates. So I could only assume that these guys, presumably that the trolley was there to load up the shelves. So I can only assume that these two people had popped in, grabbed a couple of crates off the trolley, which was right by the door, and just slung their hook. And I also spoke with a couple of members of staff at the door as I was leaving, and they said they hadn't seen them, they hadn't been able to catch them. But they would be on camera. But the state of this country at the moment, so they are currently releasing prisoners early because the prisons are full. You've got people being imprisoned for saying things and upsetting people and for their political beliefs. And some of these people are indeed, you know, odious scumbags, right? And then on the other flip side, you've potentially got murderers and rapists being let out of prison early because we've run out of space. Because we're too busy imprisoning people for hate speech and stuff. I'm not trying to say for one moment that hate speech is a good thing, right? You know, but murder's worse, right? There's got to be some other sanction that we can impose on these people. So the point I'm making is, even if they catch these shoplifters, what's going to happen? They're not going to go to prison. Where's the deterrent? In my more extreme days, when I was a youth, I was probably slightly to the right of Genghis Khan. I was advocating that we evacuate the Isle of Wight and turn it into a massive penal colony. Literally the whole island, just dump all the prisoners there. Anybody trying to leave the island would be fair game for the Navy. In fact, you could give the island to the Navy for target practice with the prisoners on it. Why not? And I would still advocate for that. I think turn the whole island into a penal colony, let everyone fend for themselves, let everyone fight amongst each other. They can do what the hell they like on the island, but if they attempt to leave, then they are fair game to be terminated with extreme prejudice. Look, I'm being slightly tongue-in-cheek with this suggestion, but on the other hand, I also think that something needs to be done. We can't build prisons quick enough to put people in. So we should probably stop imprisoning people for stupid, petty things, start imposing some other sanction, and keep the nasty bastards away. contempt of court, it's a bad thing, right? But I don't know, man. It's such a tricky subject, isn't it? Because whatever I say, I'm going to offend somebody or upset somebody, and they're going to say, oh, you're taking the side of the racists. Or I'm not. I'm just trying to say that there's degrees of criminality. And I believe there was a story that at least one rapist got released accidentally when he shouldn't have been during the general release of people to free up spaces. And those spaces will already have been taken up almost immediately by the people who were rioting in the summer. So I saw a very funny comment online, which was basically how nice it was of the UK to take on France's rioting responsibilities whilst they were hosting Paris Olympics. It was very neighbourly of us. But you see, so we're ejecting people out of prison early, which means they've not served their sentence, and then we're filling the prisons up again with rioters. I don't want to make a big deal about this. It was just I've got onto this topic because of the shoplifters, right? And and there I am, like a good boy, paying for my shopping, and there's people just blatantly walking out with stuff, and my views. I didn't vote Conservative in the last two general elections. I used to be a staunch Conservative. I used to be a member of the party. I used to deliver leaflets and run local election campaigns, right, when I lived in Gosport. But I'm disillusioned with the party because of Brexit and some other, the fact that they just seem to be money-grabbing arseholes at the moment. But I do have a general sense of law and order. And if I was in charge of the country, my number one priority would be defence, as we already know, because that was the single thing I voted on in the last election. I voted on the lines of defence. My next thing would be law and order with more police, and then it would be education and health. Those would be my four priorities. Anything else would kind of fall by the wayside, really. I think a lot of the problems in this country are due to lack of education. People just don't understand or don't care or don't have empathy or whatever. If there were more police and more visibility, then people might be less inclined to do these things. It's a tricky one, right? Because we just don't have enough money for all these things. But this is just like me spitballing here. I'm never going to be in power. I'm the last person you'd want in power because I'm lazy. I'm a very good deputy. I can do what I'm told and enforce things. I'd probably be a good party whip if I was in politics. But as a leader, you don't want me as a leader. Oh, no. I would just issue edicts and then go and build a golden palace somewhere by the beach and live in it. Yeah, you don't want me in charge. But anyway, I've got lots of views on things. It's like fireworks. There was the big fireworks display last night. Public displays are good. They're safe. I would limit fireworks to 2 nights of the year. They would be Guy Fawkes Night and New Year's Day. I might allow Diwali, which is becoming more of a thing with an increasing population from India. I might allow Diwali between certain hours. So obviously New Year's Day would be, midnight for like 10 minutes, or 15 minutes would be the allowance there. Guy Fawkes Night, Diwali would be limited to public displays only, and would be up to a certain time of the night. So say nothing after 8 p.m, for example. I would ban the sale of fireworks to individuals over the counter because people get injured. It scares animals. If we just had, a few nights a year where the timings were limited, we wouldn't have cats and dogs and things going missing. Last night on Facebook, in my local area group, a dog bolted during the fireworks. Luckily, it's been found, but there's no need to be causing stress and things to wildlife and what have you. So that's, and I've got lots of ideas and things like that, and they're nothing particularly controversial, I don't think. I don't want to start executing people, not just yet anyway, but But anyway, I'm never going to be in politics. I'm never going to be in charge, because you can't really. It's a poison chalice. It's a poison chalice. You can't do anything right. You're always going to upset somebody, and you end up being accused of corruption or whatever. I always said that if I was going to get famous, this would include being in politics, I would employ somebody to be with me at all times so that nobody could accuse me of impropriety, because anybody really can say anything about anybody at the moment. Say, oh, he touched me in a funny way, or he did this and that. I'm talking about a public figure, right? And you've got no evidence. Whereas if you've got somebody who's always with you, I'm not saying I would be doing these things, but you could never be truly accused of doing these things, because you've always got a witness. That's my point. I'm rambling now. This is a proper total ramblings episode. I am just going off on one, on tangent after tangent. And that's good, because that's what this series is about. It's total ramblings. And I am rambling. I'm nearly at Liz. Another 14 minutes. I'm just about to enter the A3. My journey is kind of split up into 3 chunks in my head, and this is chunk 3, which is a stretch of dual carriageway, which takes me through into Hindhead and then Hazelmere. So we're very close. I don't know whether I said this, but I had jabs this week. I had COVID in this arm and flu jab in that arm at the same time. That was Monday. Tuesday I didn't feel too good. Not ill. I just kind of had a headache, and this arm was really hurting. And there's nothing there now. Yesterday there was still a little bit of sensation there, but the guy giving me the jab said to me, "And why are you eligible for a flu jab?" I said, "Well, I've got asthma." He said, "Okay, that's fair enough." I said, "And I'm having COVID because I don't want to die." He was like, "Okay, but I mean, if it's more convenient, I will die." There's a lot of people on this planet, and I've long advocated for a culling, that we need to get rid of half the people because the planet can't support it. And if necessary, I would volunteer to be one of those people culled. Do you know, one of my favourite Star Trek episodes is where people voluntarily go off to die. It's like the Enterprise orbits this planet. They're trying to contact the people, and it looks like a lovely planet. They beam down. This is original Star Trek, TOS, the original series. They beam down, and Eminiar, I think the planet is. The episode is A Taste of Armageddon. They beam down this lovely planet, beautiful cities, and the president or whatever welcomes them and says, "Hi, welcome to our planet. How you doing? You can't stay." And they're like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Reasons." And then the next thing you know, there's like that someone comes up and says, "We're being attacked by our enemies on the other planet," and it turns out they're at war. And there's like a big board, and there's like kind of huge explosions appearing as graphics on the overlay of the city. And Kirk's like, "I don't feel anything." And he calls the Enterprise, and he's like, "Is there an attack going on?" And they say, No, it's fine. And then the president of the planet says to Kirk, "I'm afraid we've suffered many thousands of casualties, and I'm afraid you are casualties, as is your ship that was in orbit. I need you to report to the disintegration booths immediately." And Kirk's like, "What? What's this all about?" And the guy's like, "I need you to get your people to beam down, because if you don't report to the disintegration booths, the enemy will know about it and they'll attack us for real." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And they're basically, these two planets have been at war for a very long time, but they kind of got fed up with having to fix their planet up all the time after all the bombing and such and all the mess. So basically they reached an agreement whereby it was a black Ford Explorer with blacked out windows, black wheels. It's got a little bit of silver on the bumper. I'd blacked that out as well, but it looked bloody lovely. Anyway, these two planets reached an agreement where they wouldn't actually attack each other. They would run computer simulations and say, "Okay, we are pretending to have launched 20 missiles at you, and your defences might have knocked out a few, but a few of them got through, and this is where they would have landed, and these are the casualties that you would have suffered. And if you are declared a casualty, you basically queue up for a disintegration booth, and you step into the booth and you're killed. But the planet, the structures remain intact. So they're valuing, their structures more than their people, really. And they're like, yeah, fine. Oh no, I've been killed in an attack. I love you. Got to go off and report off to the disintegration booth now. And it's like nuts, right? Because they're not actually attacking each other. There aren't actually any missiles. It's just a war fought on paper now. And Kirk's like, this is obscene, and I'm certainly not beaming my people down. And the president of the planet's getting more frantic, and he's like, if we don't report our quota of dead people, including your ship, then the enemy's going to attack us for real. And Kirk's like, okay, well, let them do that then. Then you'll find out what war's really all about. And the guy's like, I don't know what to do. And eventually they sort of contact the other planet, and they're forced to kind of make peace because nobody really wants a war. And it's like, I love that episode. I might watch it again when I go home. I might remind myself while I'm editing this to watch it again. It's a really good episode. Probably my favourite from TOS. One of my favourites. But it's one that I go back to a lot because it's bonkers, right? You've been reported dead. Okay, I'll just go off and die then. Okay. The point I was making was, back to the point. If everybody on the planet agreed that half the population's got to go because the planet's overpopulated and we're causing a massive stress on ecosystems and resources and what have you, if somebody told me, Andrew, you're part of the 50% that's got to go, I'd be like, fair enough. And I would do it if everybody else was doing it for the good of the planet. That's how I got onto the episode of Star Trek. There you go. I remembered, finally, what I was talking about.